U.S. Japan Council salutes 3 Japanese-American pioneers. They paved the way for the next generation of Japanese-American leaders, inspiring them to also invest in our bilateral relations. George Aratani was a Nisei trailblazer, connecting the U.S. and Japan in business and through philanthropy. He founded 2 international companies that became household names, Mikasa Chinaware and Kenwood Stereos.
In the old days, we had a radio, and then you had 1 speaker. Now you have to have 2 speakers, because it's 2 signals is going to be sent out. And I thought, hey, this is really a revolution in audio. When we started, there's no giants like Circuit City and the good guys. They're all Papa Mama stores.
In 2 years, Kenwood became a hot item. I guess I'm lucky.
Not too long after I start going to kindergarten, my father decided that he should make this big move to a small town known as Guadalupe. My father was known as a pioneer in this produce being shipped to Midwest and Atlantic seaboard with crushed ice. I wanted to go to Stanford, and I was accepted. All of a sudden, one evening, my parents are telling me about going to Japan. I kind of rebelled, but they prevailed, and I was on the ship going to Japan.
2 years goes by, I got the feel of what this Japanese culture is all about. My father was ill in the hospital, so I came back to the United States in 1939.
And since I'm the only child in a family, he thought that I should take over our business. Oh, this was a shock of our life. We didn't know what to do with the business. We ourselves had close to 5,000 acres.
They want to give us an ultimatum. There's a war going on, and unless you want to lose everything, you should take the agreement that we are offering you now. And the total amount put together is a drop in the bucket.
And then from Tulare, we were shipped to Arizona, to Gila.
And I was given orders to go to Camp Savage, Minnesota, as soon as possible.
He explained what he had to go through because of the war, you know, that he lost everything. But that wasn't important to me. And then, before coming back to Boston, he proposed to me. The wedding day was Thanksgiving Day. Well, the war ended, and George decided to leave MIS so that he can start his new business of trading with Japan.
I had already made plans to look into Chinaware.
I start to buy from Nagoya and ship it directly to New York, and from New York we sell to department stores. We became #1 in the United States market.
He shared his business success with the Japanese-American community through the Aratani Foundation. He and his family generously supported organizations in Los Angeles, such as Cato Services, the Japanese-American National Museum, and the Japanese-American Cultural and Community Center. Aratani also helped these organizations to raise funds in Japan with the assistance of the Keidanren.
The Japanese kunsho. I was surprised that I got it. I want to continue the Japanese community, whether it's for youngsters or mid-age or elderly. It's our society. And if we can help, we should do it. And that's what I'm doing.
Wally Yonamine was a Nisei who broke many barriers in football and baseball. He received much acclaim for his baseball accomplishments and was elected to the Japanese Baseball Hall of Fame.
When I got into Japan Hall of Fame, I was so happy because I never thought that I would get 75% vote from the sports media. And me being a Japanese American, see, to be a Japanese American and get into the Japan Hall of Fame is very hard. I was born in Maui, but when I first came to Honolulu, baseball was not my sport. My sport was football. When I was a little boy, maybe about 8, 10 years old, my dream was one day play at the Honolulu Stadium here. After my sophomore year in Maui, I asked my father if I could come to Honolulu. And when he was 17 years old, he left Okinawa and came to Hawaii all by himself. So when I asked him, I want to go to Honolulu, he said, if you want to go, go. And those days, in the 40s, you don't find too many Niseis a good football player. But I was very lucky that and we won the championship, made the MVP and all that. See, I had a scholarship to go to Ohio State. When the 49ers asked me to come and talk to them in San Francisco, then they gave me a 2-year guaranteed contract. When I was there in 47, see, a lot of the Japanese American came out of a relocation camp. You know, Americans used to call them Jap, you know. The Niseis in the States were so happy to see one Hawaii Buddhahead playing with the 49ers. Now they have something to cheer about. I played 1 year with the 49ers, and the second year I broke my wrist, and then the 49ers let me go. A left fielder told me, he said, Wally, I think you should go to Japan because the Japanese love baseball, and I think they would really love your style. Some years that from February until October, I didn't take one day off. When I play a night game, if I go 4 times at bat, I didn't get a hit. I'd be going home at night, maybe swing the bat for 1,000 times, you know, just swing the bat, swing the bat. So after the season was over, the assistant manager came up to me and told me that, you know, as a whole, we don't care too much for Niseis, you know, but you one good Nisei. So when he told me that, I was so happy, you know.
He is often referred to as the Jackie Robinson of baseball in Japan. He went on to become the successful manager of the Chunichi Dragons for 5 years, which included a championship.
You know, when you work in a cane field and all that, pick grass and things, you know, on my shoulder, maybe climb 2 mountains to come to school, that was our job, see, those days. And I don't want to forget that. So every after season from Japan, I'll come home to Honolulu, and the next flight, I'll go to Maui. Just to remind me how fortunate I am.
Senator Daniel Inouye created the U.S. Japan Parliamentary Group to promote working relationships with members of Congress and Japanese Diet members. As chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee, he frequently visited Asia, including Japan, to ensure strong relations between the United States and Asian countries. He was a co-founder of the U.S. Japan Council.
My mother was a child of plantation workers. She, like my paternal grandparents, came to the islands just before the turn of the century, 1899. But she always said, never underestimate yourself. You're just as good, if not better, than anyone else. But at the same time, remember that you're not too good for anyone. Humility is very important. So if you can put humility and pride together, you got the right answer. Yeah? December 7th, 1941, we found ourselves threatened as unwanted people. We found our country against us. The Japanese are attacking Pearl Harbor. Japanese bombs are dropping. And sure enough, you can see the smoke rising. And all of a sudden, 3 planes flew overhead with the red sun. And I knew right away the world that I knew was coming to an end. My father was born in Japan. He came over as a child, 3 years old. On the day I left to put on the uniform, he accompanied me on the streetcar. Nothing is said. until we get close to the destination when he clears his throat and he says, "This country has been good to us. We owe a lot to the country. Therefore, if you must give your life, so be it. But whatever you do not dishonor the family, do not dishonor the country."
For him, freedom and dignity were not abstractions. They were values that he had bled for, ideas he had sacrificed for, rights he understood as only someone can who has had them threatened. And so we remember a man who inspired all of us with his courage and moved us with his compassion, that inspired us with his integrity, and who taught so many of us that America has a place for everyone.